Assalamu alaikum. Uh, I got a comment from one of my subscribers by the name of Pete, and he was wondering what are a few things that we do in this post-COVID climate to save money. You know, everybody's kind of feeling the crunch, and so what are some ways that we do to compensate for that, being that money's hard to come by, and you know, income hasn't changed very much. So I just thought I'd share a few ideas and what we're doing here to try and save money. So to me, at times like these, my favorite motto is really important, and that is fix it, make it do, or do without. So that's kind of how I'm looking at in the grand scheme. You know, my first rule at looking at everything is, you know, trying to fix it myself to save money, or making do with it as it is, or you know, figuring out ways that, you know, I can get by without having to use that since it's no longer available to me. One thing I know is that the price of feed has really gone up, and so with that I've been compensating somewhat by feeding, you know, scrap produce to the chickens as an extra to kind of help supplement feed. Another thing that I do is, and especially lately, the neighbors have been doing some cleaning jobs, and they've been bringing me a lot of scrap lumber. And since it's just cold at mostly after dark, like, you know, about 8-9 o'clock till about noon the next day, we'll be burning wood. And what I do is just burn the, you know, all the scrap wood right now, all this stuff that's really not that good, old pallets, you know, kind of thick branches that blow down out of the tree, dead branches, whatever I can, and try my best to save any scrap or the good wood for like the colder months and so on. And another thing that I do right is, and this is something I kind of do anyways, but in trying to cut corners lately, something I've really been doing a lot is saving all the nails of the leftover wood that my neighbors dumped over here, and I cut it up already, so just a lot of old pallets, and it's just junk. If you tried to burn this wood in January, you'd freeze, but right now it's perfect and it's free. It's not costing me anything to heat my home with this wood. It's also some old telephone poles which I've been splitting and mixing in. They don't burn that good because they're soaked with a fire retardant, but if you wait till they get a little rotten like these, they will burn if you mix them in with something else like that. It just kind of makes a hot fire. Well, anyways, what I was saying is I try and save all the nails for my building projects coming up over the winters, when I do a lot of building projects and repair projects. So I would save all these nails, like this thing here. A bunch of screws in it. I'm gonna pull all those out. Basically, I just try to save money everywhere that I can. You know, I try not to pass up any opportunity right now to save money. You know, if things were going really good and, you know, a lot of money was coming in, it wasn't tight at all, then I just go buy screws. But being that things are a little tight and we're trying to buckle down for the winter, you know, I'll take out all the screws out of them old boards, take all the nails out, and so on, until you know, just try to make do with the materials that I got. And so the I wanted to show you just a little bit of comparison. Just a second, let me get these screws out of here. Ooh. But this just gives you an idea of, you know, really all these gold screws right here I took out of some of that stuff there, and they're decent screws. They're, you know, but this pack of screws here was $5 at the surplus store, and that's got to be, you know, it ain't quite a full bag, but it's 3/4 of a bag. It just shows you how much you can save just by keeping stuff like that. And same thing here, I'm keeping all these screws. And my newer screws are in the bag, and if you look down at the bottom, it's just tons of used screws that I've got thrown in there. So any project I need to work on, I always got enough to you know, make a good start of it. And it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of the mindset I have all the time, but basically in hard times, I just, you know, even more, I just try to make do with what I got, figure out a way, looking at what I've got at hand to make it work, or do without. If I don't have screws and I can't afford screws, I'll just use nails or whatever. Another thing as far as doing without, we this whole summer have not used any of our propane refrigerator or freezer, just to save money. Propane, supposedly I heard that propane is going to go up 10% this winter, and then natural gas, I guess they said it's going to go up 30%. And so mainly we use propane for the cook stove, for those top burners. The cook stove also is dual, so we can use wood in it as well. And it's got 2 wood burners and then 4 propane burners. So that's kind of how we cut back. We just use the ice chest and cold water to keep our food cold. We also tried cooking a little less so that we don't have as many leftovers to actually have to worry about, preserving as many leftovers, because we don't. So we've been just sticking to strictly kerosene lamps and not having a real bright gas light. Just little things like that, and all the little things add up. So you're probably thinking, how are you going to go shopping if you don't have that much money? So actually what I mean by go shopping is shop around for better deals. I had mentioned a minute ago that I ended up actually switching my feed provider. Initially I was getting my feed from one place over in Belding, Michigan, and what they would do was give me a month's supply of feed and give me 30 days to pay it off, which worked great for 6 or 7 years. I've been doing it that way, maybe more. But since the whole COVID thing, now suddenly they claim that they can't afford to give me a 30-day credit, and they want to be paid up front. And I'm not always able to come up with the money up front and not, put everything else in a bind. It was better for me to have 30 days to come up with it, and then I could arrange for it, and then before the 30 days was up and I was out of feed, I'd come up with the money to buy more. So I didn't really want to play that game. It was just kind of too stressful for me to try to come up with that amount of money up front. And I just started shopping around, and it was really hard at first. I mean, I looked and looked and I couldn't find, before I had them, they were the cheapest around. And so I just looked everywhere and I just couldn't find anybody that had better prices. And also transportation is an issue, so I had to add on the cost of having the feed shipped or delivered. And it was just really tough for a minute. But I did finally find an Amish guy that I'm getting my feed from now. It's just a wee bit more than, I think I was paying probably about $3.50 a month before in Belding, and now where I'm getting it from the Amish is about $400 a month. But the upside is it's better feed. My chickens are laying a lot better on it, so that actually brings in more income because they're producing more on the feed. And being that they're horse and buggy people, they're more they're more understanding about not having your money up front, and they will give you a credit, and they just seem to be more happier to work with you. And so in the long run, I'm doing a lot better by having shopped around and found a new feed provider. And if I do get short, they will give me credit. And so it just is, that's the way that I'm able to continue on. The other guy, I wouldn't have been able to continue on getting feed from them, not having to come up with all the feed up front, and then I'd be short on everything else. So the other thing with shopping is like right now, I anything I need as far as tools and equipment, I try not to buy it brand new. I try to buy something that's good used, and I shop around. I get these diligently. These are classified newspaper. This particular one is only for Michigan, but it's a classified newspaper. I believe this one is owned by either Amish or Mennonites. I'm not sure which. I think Amish owned. And they do have, I think they got Indiana, Kentucky, and Illinois. I'm not sure. But it's basically just a classified. It goes to right here. It says 15,303 homes in Michigan and Indiana, and it's just a classified magazine. And they've got everything that you can think of that you would need as far as living off the grid, anything that you would need, and then some. Starting with horses, livestock, just anything that you can need. And you can find people in your area that have stuff, and you know, you're able to deal with them. Sometimes you can talk them down a little bit. You can find, or you can even put ads in here saying that, you know, I've got so much money and I'm looking for this. And you'd be surprised the connections that you can make and the deals that you can get. And this is really, to me, has been, having this has been a lifesaver. And just a lot, there's a lot of good deals in here. It's definitely worth having it. This is, I'm not sure how much this one costs. I think if you are not Amish or Mennonite, this one costs about $50 a year for this catalog. Not 100% sure though. But yeah, if you don't drive a horse and buggy, then they charge you. But if you do, then it's free. And this is another one. This one is also Michigan and Indiana. This one, I think it's a little bit better. This one is completely free. No discrimination on whether you're Amish or not. And this one is only Michigan and Indiana, as far as I know. I always thought this one had a little bit better deals, a little bit cheaper. They list all the auctions that are coming up in your area, farm auctions, moving sales. These are, you can get a lot of good deals at moving sales because, you know, people are moving, they're getting rid of everything. And a lot of times I don't even go for what's listed. I go for the, you know, the miscellaneous stuff that's not listed, and, you know, you could get it for a good deal. But of course you need to know what it's really worth to know whether you're getting a good deal or not. But I think that's really important as far as saving money, is not buying stuff brand new, because sometimes you can get something used for a third of the price, and it might not last as long as it would if you had bought it new, but it's enough to get you by, and maybe you can fix it up and keep going a little bit longer. So these are kind of the ways that are, you know, I'm able to still kind of keep going when times are tight. Is by shopping around, and also Facebook Marketplace is a good place to shop for things. You'd be surprised the stuff that you could find on there. I don't actually have Facebook, so it's a little bit more complicated for me. I go on there and find stuff I want, and then I have to ask a friend to message them and, you know, see what, if they would take this offer for that or whatever. But also Craigslist is a good place. But just always, you know, just always be always on the lookout for something. You never know when, you know, I've gone to a sale before, a farm sale, where I only had $40 and came home with a pickup truck load of stuff. So I mean, you just never know what kind of deal you'll come upon. And it's always good to be on the lookout and shop for something. If stuff starts getting too high, shop somewhere else. Go find another feed supplier. I mean, it's always got to be somewhere or somebody somewhere that's a little bit cheaper and can make it worth your while. Speaking of shopping, I wanted to share this experience here. These are some, usually once a year I order some, I'm going to grab a pair of scissors or something to cut this open. But usually once a year I shop at Gone Brothers in Middlebury, Indiana. and they specialize in clothing, homemade clothing, plain clothing. They have several different styles. Basically, you'd have to specify which style you wanted. But I ordered some stuff from there. I ordered a coat, and so they've sent me this stuff in the mail. I thought it would be fun to open it and show you what I got. Alright, so my invoice here. I got a coat and a vest to go with it. This is the tailor that makes them, and they're available. I think they even have a website, but I'm not sure. Give a shout out to them. I've been getting things from them for 20 years or better, and they do great work. I've got some pants that I bought 20 years ago that are still kicking it. So all the stuff they have is really heavy duty made and reasonable prices. Brand new tailor-made stuff. So this time I ordered a gray coat to go with my gray pants. And I'm really excited about this. I've been wanting a gray coat for a minute. It's double insulated. Should have had some interior pockets. I thought I asked for those. Look at it here. And here's the jacket. As in English, this is called a vest, but in Dutch, they refer to this as a jacket. And I got my double pockets in there. So that's pretty cool. I'm really excited about that. And I got gray to go along with the other colors. And this here, this one is actually a lady that makes suits. A friend of mine gave me a suit coat, which I believe is here. So he gave me a suit coat, this one. Give a shout out to Garrett. He gave me this suit coat before he moved out of state. I guess it must have been too small for him or something, but it's blue. I've been actually wanting a blue suit. I just have a black and a gray one. But there was no pants or no jacket to go with it, and so there's a lady in Middlebury that makes suits. So she measured me and she mailed me the rest of the suit. So now I have a complete set with the jacket there. She made them all, she matched the material so that they're all matching. And then here's the trousers to go with it. And this is a kind of a wrinkle resistant material, which is really nice to have on suits because you know, like if you sit down or something, you're riding there and then you get there and you're all wrinkled, and this doesn't have to be ironed that often because it's the material that it's made out of. The pleats are sewn into it. And she also fixed one of my work coats. She put hooks and eyes on. Replaced all the hooks and eyes. They were broken off. This is probably one of the first coats I ever got from Gone Brothers. So yeah, this coat's probably like 15 years old. It's just a work coat now, but it's super warm, and I didn't want to part with it. I think a new coat costs about 60 bucks. So I just figured I'd use this for like working around every day. And if I want to go to town, I can wear my newer coat. But anyways, just thought I'd share that with you. And talk to you soon. So the third tip is trying to minimize, you know, you basically, you know, at a time like this when it's tight, another thing I would do is try and minimize, look through my whole budget, everything that I need, and try to see is there something I can do without? Is there something I can minimize? Maybe if I get less of this, you know, to make it stretch to here, or what are some things that I don't really have to have, something I can do without, for example. So there's been times when it's been tight and we didn't buy toilet paper. We would use newspaper and like take a piece of sandpaper and sand it down so it's nice and soft. Or maybe, you know, not using paper towel. If you use paper towel, use a rag and then just wash it instead of buying paper towel and then you just use it up and throw it away and waste. It's a lot of wasted money. But just basically looking through your life and seeing what are some things that you could minimize, even small things. You know, if you do a bunch of small things, everything adds up. Maybe wear your clothes longer, put patches on them if they get holes in them. Just whatever you can think of. You know, everybody's different what they can do, what they can't do. So any way that you can think of to minimize so that you don't have to spend money, or that you can do it yourself, even if it takes a little longer to save money. That's just basically what you have to do. I mean, what else can you do? I guess maybe that one's too basic, but I guess that would be my third tip, is to try to, once again, you know, every time I get in a tight, and I try to once again minimize, or look around and see what can I do without less. Maybe instead of using 4 lamps in your house, use 3 lamps or 2 lamps. So that way you're not using as much fuel. There's always something you can always minimize and do without until you're able to come up with more money to get by. So that is, I guess what I'd say is tip number 3 on successfully living off the land in hard times. So there is one more thing I wanted to discuss. It's off the topic a little bit, but it's kind of current news. Not sure how many of you have noticed it or seen it, but they are writing tickets for the swartzentruber Amish, primarily in Ohio, because Ohio passed a new bill which is trying to force the swartzentruber Amish to use flashing lights. So I just thought it was just an interesting subject, and it'd be interesting to see what you all think of it. I apologize about the lighting. It is a little dark in here. Well, personally, I don't really agree with the the ideology of the swartzentruber Amish on not using, being so conservative on regards to reflectors. I think it's saving life is really the most important thing. But I do kind of understand that there is a middle of the road. That's kind of where we come from, where, because we also don't use a lot of lights. But there's got to be a middle of the road too, if you don't want to go around the road looking like a lit up Christmas tree. But I think regardless of that, they have the right to believe what they want, if that's what they want to believe, and just use a couple lanterns, and I think they're only allowed to use 40 inches of reflective tape, perimeter tape, and 2 lanterns is all they would allow. But if that's what they want to do, I mean, that's their religion. You're not going to be able to persuade them to change what they believe is their religion on that. And they just think that that's too modern, that the original horse and buggy people shouldn't compromise at all for safety or for any reason. They should just remain conservative, and all their lights should be with a flame, and they shouldn't use all these new technologies, and that as more technology comes out, they're just going to continue to keep trying to force more and more technology on them, and so they feel like they have to put their foot down here, and they're not going to move forward past this point. This is the amount of technology they have accepted, and they don't want to go past that for any reason. That's their belief on that. But and I don't, like I say, I don't really 100% support that. There's some angles to it I see, but I don't. I think safety is overrides, the safety of human life is kind of overrides that a little bit. But I think that this new law that is writing tickets and probably eventually will lead to jailing a lot of Amish people is really them. They know that since even in the 70s, when Ohio enforced that all Amish buggies have to have the orange triangle, and they at that time they rejected it as well, the orange triangle. So if they won't accept something as simple as a reflective triangle, there's no way they will accept a flashing, battery opted flashing light, and they want you to have this flashing light on all the time, whenever you're on the road, day or night, which is ridiculous, because I don't think in the daytime people are paying that much attention to the flashing light. It's not necessarily that bright, but maybe it is. But the cost of batteries to run the flashing light that much is crazy. It's ridiculous. But at night it makes sense to have a flashing light, to alert people that you're coming. But I think that it's really just more about persecuting the swartzentruber Amish, because they know they're not going to budge to that. And I don't think that it's right. I think they should just leave them alone. Maybe they could work out some kind of compromise, try to get them to compromise. But I don't know. To me, it really seems like just picking on them. All the Amish in Ohio, most of them are using some type of flashing light. The only ones that didn't do it or won't do it is the most conservative groups, mainly the swartzentruber Amish. And to me, I don't think it's right. I see it as just them, picking on them. And so I just thought I'd raise a little bit of awareness about it, and I'd love to hear what you all think about it. Thoughts and comments on the matter. And next time, next time I'll be talking about 3 more tips on how to get by when the economy is down. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Hopefully it'll be next week, inshallah. Last week I was a little bit sick, so I kind of let a week lapse in between my videos, but hopefully I'll be back on the ball next week. And so inshallah by next weekend I should have another video. Salam.